Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you again. I just put out a video about an hour ago, hour and a half ago, about a school board in Maryland that went to court and had a judge go against some parents' religious and personal beliefs at home to allow the school board to teach the Rainbow Mafia curriculum in school. And if you watch my video, you'll see where I stand on that. But I just came across this other story, and it's actually a two-in-one, which I'm not surprised by one of them because it's been out. I'm very surprised by the other one that's happening overseas. But before we get into it, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, give my videos a thumbs up. Again, I want to thank everyone for checking out my content and joining my channel. But let's get into this. This is what's been going on in California, and I don't know if anybody's been knowing. It's about Gavin Newsome sticking his nose in, and people in some of the schools, some officials don't want a certain curriculum shown or taught. And Gavin Newsome, of course, you know, he's part of that whole how can I say, he's all, in my opinion, since he's all for it, he's part of that, you know, that pedophile cult, in my opinion, because like I said, any adults that are for teaching little kids, or you know, kids in junior high school or elementary school, anything about sexualization is just perverse. But let's listen to this.
Temecula Valley School District holding a special meeting tonight after being hit with a $1.5 million fine from Governor Gavin Newsome. It's all because the school board rejected a state-approved social studies book and other curriculum over concerns about sexualized topics. Jennifer Wiersma is one of the school board members who voted against the curriculum, and Jennifer joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. What is the issue with the curriculum being pushed by Gavin Newsome?
Good morning, Todd. Well, let me first say that I represent just one perspective of the board, but thousands of constituents that elected me to protect their children and curate curriculum. So with this fine, it is definitely an egregious overreach. It's outside his jurisdiction and his purview as governor, and the voters feel like they are being attacked.
So what's the problem with the books in question?
So when I started the curriculum process, I was looking for three things: a robust curriculum that focused on history, not social studies issues, but geography and civics. We were looking for parental involvement. We also wanted to have guardrails in place so that when it comes to some controversial historical figures of activism, that we questioned the educational suitability and made a wise decision. So we have been going through this process being very careful not to rubber stamp adopted curriculum by the state, but to say what's best for our community and then make the decision.
One of the things that stood out to me in my research on this,
and you see, and that right there in itself is where the left have a hard time dealing with, because they want to push their agenda no matter what. In my last video, the judge noted that in Maryland, sorry about that, that saying that it, you know, the parents had no right, you know, that nothing was infringing on their right. So they didn't have a basis for, you know, opting out of a certain curriculum. You know, I don't understand where they hire these people. You know, all I can think of, you know, or think of that, what everybody else is thinking is that it's an agenda, you know, to sexualize children, and it's just you know, the sickening part about it is that the more people are pushing back against it, the more people on the left are pushing for it. I mean, even to the point that you have communities of Muslims, like in Michigan and places like that, that are fighting against this, and they're being pushed back on, knowing that Muslims are very devout to their religion, Christians are very devout to their religion, Jewish people are very devout to their religion, but yet they're telling them, no, you have to accept this. You will let us sexualize your children. We are the law, and you're going to like it, and you're going to eat it. Now, like I've always said, if anybody's for it, then I'm against you. Plain and simple. And I never condone violence on anybody, nothing like that. But people need to understand that you need to keep your perversions to yourself, and you need to leave the children out of it. Anybody that wants to dress up their child in a certain way that's provocative is a perverse person. And the more they're pushing it into schools, the more parents are pushing back. And I'm not saying that it's a losing battle. It's just that it blows my mind how people on the left and the people that want this, and there are some people on the right that want this too. You know, like I've always said, there's no hair on my tongue. I'll point out both sides if I have to. It just makes me wonder, how do they keep replenishing their groups? Well, the answer is, you got to go after the kids. Hitler did it with the Nazi youth. You know, train them when they're young, so when they get older, we have, you know, that ultimate race. And this is what people on the left that are pushing this agenda, this is what they want. A lot of times they try to turn it and say, oh, it's science, and we're trying to, you know, do studies. No, there's no reason to do stuff like that. None at all. You know, but let me go back. We'll continue where I left off.
It does appear that you're trying, not you, but the state of California wants to teach first graders, kids as young as 6 years old, somewhat sexualized curriculum. So can you wrap your head around, A, that, and then 2, why the state of California would want to make that mandatory?
I think that it is something that more and more parents are questioning. And here in California, parents are just as concerned as parents in Florida and across the country that we are doing things that are age appropriate. And so at this point, with curriculum we've looked at, Harvey Milk did come up in a supplemental curriculum. And when you look at his lifestyle and the fact that he did have a sexual relationship with minors, that was a point for us to pause on, because I don't think for 8 and 9 years old, this is something to talk about. Parental rights is important, and if they want to cover that at home within the family, that's great. But at school, it should be the core academics, and that is our focus.
You know, and I have to agree with that. And like I said, you know, it makes you wonder what it is they're trying to push on the kids. Why would you teach somebody about a politician who supposedly, you know, slept with minors? Now, I noticed that this whole situation of where they're trying to indoctrinate the term of the MAPs, the MAP, minor attracted persons, and they're trying to normalize that. And it just seems like that's what they're trying to push into schools to young children, the normalization of adults being attracted to children. And that is sick, and that is perverse. It truly is. And for a person like Gavin Newsome, who's the governor that's supposed to be, you know, overseeing the masses in California, for him to step in and say, well, you know, the old textbook is history, we got to put in the new one. Nobody asked you to put your 2 cents in there and to favor one side of the aisle, and to come out and say that, oh, now all of a sudden a person like Harvey Milk, who, you know, was accused of sleeping with minors, for you to come out and say that that's the new history that should be taught. What exactly is it that you're trying to, you know, to teach? You know, are you trying to teach the kids that, you know what, stay away from people like Harvey Milk? Or are you trying to teach the kids that, oh, it's okay, you know, it's okay to like a person like him because, you know, he liked sleeping with little children? I mean, because I can't think of any other reason besides teaching the kid. You know, when I was growing up as a kid, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that watch this, and to this day, you'll hear when they teach about stranger danger. You know, teaching the kids stranger danger. There's a stranger. You know, you got to be afraid. You know, if you feel threatened or whatever the case is, you have to like scream, yell, you know, do whatever you do to get somebody's attention to help you. But now it's almost as if, you know what, with the way the curriculums in some of the schools, like in Maryland, and in a lot of other schools where they're telling parents that we don't have to tell you what your kid says in school. We don't have to tell you if your kid, about their gender, preference and their pronoun preference. And it's almost as if that they're trying to pull the kids away, sexualize them, teach them about the sexualization in school, trying to incorporate it in this case like a history book, as if that's okay, that's going to be the new norm, that people like that will vilify. But now in this day and age, now we can teach this because now we're all open. And like one of the things that's being thrown around by the left a lot, is that love is love. No. Being sexually attracted to minors, that's not love. That's being sexually attracted to minors. If you love a child because you love children, yes, but when you're sexually attracted to children, that's not love. That's perversion. Okay? And it's just sickening. But this is not even the best, I'm not going to say the best part. This is not even the point that I'm trying to get to on this. But let's continue with this because there's something else that you need to see.
To be clear, you were pushing back on the fact that Harvey Milk allegedly had this relationship with a minor, what would be considered a minor under today's circumstances. It is not his gay background or anything along those lines. Governor Newsome says the following about you. The 3 political activists on the school board, basically naming you, have yet again proven they are more interested in breaking the law than doing their jobs of educating students, so the state will do their job for them. After we deliver the textbooks into the hands of students and their parents, the state will deliver the bill, along with a $1.5 million fine to the school board for its decision to willfully violate the law, subvert the will of the parents, and force children to use an out-of-print textbook from 17 years ago. Your response?
He is speaking out of turn. Local control is everything, and we are still on a trajectory to make that decision. Our students and our teachers will have material in the fall. We are still having that conversation. So for the governor to really, what I look at is saber rattling at this point with this board, as a mom who stepped up to serve her constituents and who has had children go through this district, it's a place that I love, and I'm going to do my best to continue to work through it. The governor needs to step back. That's what the community in Temecula is asking.
Just quickly, are you changing your vote tonight? Because tonight's the big vote.
Actually, we are going to have a vote. That's right. I was thinking later tomorrow, but it is today. And so tonight, we have a couple of different options that we're going to look at. So I don't know how my colleagues will vote. I am going to vote to look at a component where we hold on to our curriculum, bring in an electronic aspect that brings us up to par with everything we need to be in compliance with the FAIR Act, all aspects. So stay tuned. We'll see how it goes.
We'll be watching. Jennifer Wiersman, thank you so much.
And, okay, so with what they said, I still haven't shown you the part I wanted to show you. For Gavin Newsome to say something like that, calling them political activists, he's a snake. He's a snake. These are not political activists. These are parents. These are concerned people that are talking about something that's very important. Especially now in this day and age with all, the child, sex slavery and the children that go missing every day and the women that are being kidnapped and forced into, sex slavery and, all kinds of stuff. For him to say this is like, political activists, stepping in and he's going to have to step in. No, that just shows how much of a snake, how much of a perverted snake this man is. Because now these are political activists, but the ones that are pushing other stuff on the left, they're not political activists. Only when it suits them that they can use that title, that they're political activists. But, so I covered on my last video about this, about the judge in Maryland going against the parents and their religious beliefs, that the school wins to teach them about, the Rainbow Mafia curriculum. Now this in California, this has been going on for a while. Now the one that bothers me, well, I mean they all bother me, but what brings me to this is this right here. German daycares promote sexual exploration rooms where children can engage in sexual games. One daycare said it offered kids the freedom to try out childish sexuality in the rooms. Several daycare centers in Germany are reportedly considering or have already implemented sexual exploration rooms where children can engage in sexual games and discover what they find pleasurable. According to several reports, 2 nurseries in the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia, 2 nurseries have discussed plans to promote safe spaces where young children can explore masturbation. When asked for comment by the German newspaper Die Welt, the North Rhine-Westphalia Children's Ministry, headed by Green Josephine Paul, said the sexual behavior by children could not be prevented and said they had no intention of contacting the daycare centers. You believe that? In other words, if you find a child touching themselves, leave it alone. Let them explore themselves. Just leave it alone. We can't prevent that. It goes on. The What reported that one daycare in Kirpen offers children the freedom to try out childish sexuality. The daycare also said that sexual self-pleasure on its property is of great importance, insisting that masturbation is normal. Listen to that. Okay, this is another headline. I'll just read it real quick. Man forcibly removed from school board meeting by security while reading from LGBTQ book. Unconstitutional. Of course. Okay. Anyway, getting back to this. The website Remix noted that another daycare in Germany, found in the town of Rheinberg, facilitates doctor games where children are urged to pursue other students' bodies. You believe that? Or peruse, or urged to peruse, I guess it is, other students' bodies. The nursery allegedly encouraged kids to choose a specific student whose body they wish to explore carefully, but warned them no objects are to be introduced into body orifices. What in the fuck? Pro Familia, Germany's leading professional association on sexuality and partnership, initially issued recommendations that daycares set up body exploration rooms and sexual games for kids in July, Redux initially reported. Parents voiced concern about the exploration rooms in June when the news outlet BILD published an email from an Arbiter Wolfenhart AWO daycare center in the Hanover region of Germany. This says here, online sexual exploitation of juveniles sees sustained increase following COVID-19 pandemic spike. Makes you wonder. The email sent to parents showed 10 rules detailing how children in the rooms will be encouraged to pet and examine themselves and other young students. How about that? All children, especially preschoolers, are aware of the places in the facility where nudity and body exploration can take place. Each child decides for themselves whether and with whom they want to play physical and sexual games. Girls and boys pet and examine each other only as much as is comfortable for themselves and other children. The guidance read in part, "My daughter is 5 years old. I don't want boys groping her. I have another child in another daycare center where there is no such thing as an exploration room," one father told BILD. Florida's sting targeting child sex exploitation finds nearly 40% of arrests in U.S. illegally. Arrestees in U.S. illegally. 40% of the people in Florida that were targeting children, 40% of them basically are illegal immigrants. And you wonder why it's so important to close the damn border down, because not only do we have our own perverts in America, okay, born and raised, now we're letting them through the border, okay, that's another story, but this is going on in Germany. So it's not only in the US, they've gone as far as in Germany to do it in daycare centers. Following intense public backlash, a spokesperson for the Ministry of Education in the Lower Saxony state capital said, the educational concept in this form endangers the well-being of the child. No shit. Finally. The head of the nursery group's management company later said their head office had not approved the letter. The kindergarten then canceled the project. Or was it because they got busted? People, I cannot stress this enough. Whether you want to hear it or not, whether you think that, you know, that this video is going to get banned or you're going to get ridiculed by people, do not let this take place. Don't let it happen. Don't let it take place. Speak out against it. This could be your child, your niece, your nephew, your neighbor's child. I always told people, listen, close your eyes. Okay? Let's just put it this way. There was a movie that came out years ago with Samuel L. Jackson and I forgot the other actor's name. But it was about a father that killed some people that had, I believe, raped and beat up his daughter or something like that. And he was going to trial. And they wanted to, like, really, you know, put this man behind bars for taking revenge on the two men, I think it was the three men, that hurt his daughter. And the only way he could get, and this took place in the South, so it was like a couple of white guys that did this to a young black girl. So the lawyer was a white guy. He told everybody in the court, close your eyes, and he described what was done to the little girl. Where they showed people with their eyes closed, but they were crying. And then he hit him over the head with the last question while they had their eyes closed. He goes, now picture that little girl being white. And that woke everybody up. So my thing is this. If you love your children, if you love children the right way, imagine some pervert, I'm trying to watch my language, a perverted person abusing a child that you know. Picture, okay, the children that you love and know being, I mean, the worst you could think of, because that's what happens to a lot of kids around the world every day, and it happens a lot in America. And by pushing this perversion on children, it makes it easier for the pedophiles to get to them. It makes it easier for the rapists to get to them, to the murderous rapists to get to them. The ones that will take a child, I mean, just totally destroy them and then dump their bodies. And I know people say you can't talk about this and all. Listen, if Fox News could put this or anything like this on social media, then it needs to be talked about. If the newspapers are putting it out, it needs to be talked about. Plain and simple. Because it's not going to go away. No matter how much they try to hide it, it's not going to go away. Unless people start pointing it out. So be very careful. And I say this to people because I know there's a lot of liberals out there that are very open-minded, and they have basic common sense. They're not those far left liberals. Be careful with who you're voting for and what you're voting for. Okay? Drag Story Hour is not a place to take your child. You have drag queens coming out against all this and against taking children to these drag shows. You have drag queens that are being vilified by other drag queens because they're saying the truth. A drag show, what goes on in a drag show is drinking, sex, and drugs. All kinds of perversion. That is no place for a child. And they're being vilified by people on the left. Why? Because they're speaking the truth? Because they have some sort of a moral compass? But meanwhile, the last video I did was The problems that are going on in the Maryland school with the way the judge is going against parents' religious and personal beliefs. You got Gavin Newsome, who wants to be president of the United States. He can't even run a damn state, never mind 50 of them. And he wants to step in and teach kids about a perverse politician. Okay? It's going on in Germany. It's going on in so many places, especially in the US and in Europe. And then people have the nerve to get mad at the nations of Africa, okay, when their leaders say, no, we will not comply to that perversion. There's reasons for it, moral reasons for it, okay, religious reasons for it, humanistic reasons for it. Children are precious. There is no room to teach them perversion. But anyway, I hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Again, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to my channel. Pass it around, tell your family, friends about it. You know, hopefully they'll join too. And I'm not a hateful person. I just want people to understand. There are many things that I don't like, but I will never physically attack anybody. I'm not gonna go out in the street and put somebody down and try to break down somebody's like spirit. But I believe that what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. So I want people to understand that about me and my channel. This is not about going after gay people because they're gay. No. I'm not going after gay people because they're gay. I'm going after people that are perverse. Okay? Because nowhere in what I read about in Germany, nowhere did it say if these adults are gay or straight. But what they're trying to do to children is perverse, and that I will stand against. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.